Good day, David here, and welcome to another Evolution of Everything video. Whether you're a fan of DC superheroes such as Superman, Aquaman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, or even Robin, there's no denying that the DC superhero squad would not be the same without the Batman. So let's take an evolutionary journey as we explore the evolution of the Batman. In early 1939, the success of the Superman in Action Comics prompted editors at the National Comics publications, the future DC Comics, to request more superheroes for its titles. In response, Bob Kane created the Batman. Collaborator Bill Fingers recalled that Kane had an idea for a character called Batman, and he'd like me to see the drawing. I went over to Kane and he had drawn a character who looked very much like Superman with kind of reddish tights, I believe, with boots, no gloves, no gauntlets, with a small domino mask, swinging on a rope. He had two stiff wings that were sticking out, looking like bat wings, and under it was a big sign that said, Batman. Could you imagine if Batman had looked like this now? Luckily, Fingers later suggested giving the character a cowl instead of a simple domino mask, a cape instead of wings, and gloves. He recommended removing the red section from the original costume and devised the name Bruce Wayne for the character's secret identity. Starting to sound familiar now, right? The first Batman story, The Case of the Chemical Syndicate, was published in Detective Comics number 27 in May 1939. Fingers said, Batman was originally written in the style of the pulps, and this influence was evident with Batman showing little remorse over killing criminals. Batman proved a hit character, and he received his own solo title in 1940, while continuing to start in Detective Comics. By that time, Detective Comics was top-selling and most influential publisher in the industry. Over the course of the first few Batman strips, elements were added to the character and the artistic depiction of Batman evolved. Kane noted that within 6 issues he drew the character's jawline more pronounced and lengthened the ears on the costumes. His signature utility belt was introduced in Detective Comics number 29 in July 1939. Followed by the boomerang-like batarang and the first Bat-themed vehicle, the Batplane, in Detective Comics number 37 in September 1939. The character's origin was revealed in Detective Comics number 33 in November 1939, unfolding in a 2-page story that establishes the brooding persona of Batman, a character driven by the death of his parents. Martha! Too soon? Written by Finger, it depicts a young Bruce Wayne witnessing his parents' murder at the hands of a mugger. Days later, at their grave, the child vows that by the spirit of my parents, I will avenge their deaths by spending the rest of my life warring on all criminals. The early, pulp-inflicted portrayal of Batman started to soften in Detective Comics number 38 in April 1940, with the introduction of Robin, Batman's junior counterpart. Robin was introduced based on Finger's suggestion, because Batman needed a Watson with whom Batman could talk. Sales nearly doubled, despite Kane's preference for a solo Batman. By 1942, the writers and artists behind the Batman comics had established most of the basic elements of the Batman mythos. In the years following World War II, DC Comics adopted a post-war editorial direction that increasingly de-emphasized social commentary in favor of light-hearted juvenile fantasy. Batman was one of the few superhero characters to be continuously published as interest in the genre waned during the 1950s. In the story, The Mightiest Team in the World, in Superman number 76, Batman teams up with Superman for the first time and the pair discovers that both their parents are called Martha. And discovers each other's secret identity. This team-up of characters was a financial success in an era when those were few and far between. This series ran until the book's cancellation in 1986. In the late 1950s, Batman stories gradually became more science fiction oriented, an attempt at mimicking the success of other DC characters that had dabbled in the genre. New characters such as Batwoman, Ace the Bat-Hound, and Bat-Mite were introduced. Batman's adventure often involved odd transformation or bizarre space aliens. In 1960, Batman debuted as a member of the Justice League of America in The Brave and the Bold, number 28, and went on to appear in several Justice League comic series starting later that same year. By 1964, sales of Batman titles had fallen drastically. Bob Kane noted that, as a result, DC was planning to kill Batman off altogether. In response to this, editor Julius Schwartz was assigned to the Batman titles. He presided over drastic changes, beginning with 1964's Detective Comics number 327, which was cover billed as The New Look. The debut of the Batman television series in 1966 had a profound influence on the character. The success of the series increased sales throughout the comic book industry, and Batman reached a circulation of close to 900,000 copies. Starting in 1969, writer Dennis O'Neil and artist Neil Adams made a deliberate effort to distance Batman from the campy portrayal of 1960 TV series, and to return the character to his roots as a grim Avenger of the Night. While the work of O'Neil and Adams were popular with fans, they claimed did little to improve declining sales. The same held true with the similarly acclaimed run by writer Steve Englehart and penciler Marshall Rogers in Detective Comics number 471 to 476, which went on to influence the 1989 movie Batman and be adapted for Batman the Animated Series, which debuted in 1992. Regardless, circulation continued to drop through the 1970s and the 1980s, hitting an all-time low in 1985. Frank Miller's limited series The Dark Knight Returns returned the character to its darker roots, both in atmosphere and tone. The comic book, which tells the story of a 55-year-old Batman coming out of retirement in a possible future, reinvigorated the character. The Dark Knight Returns was a financial success and has since become one of the medium's most noted touchstones. The 1993 Nightfall story arc introduced a new villain, Bane, who critically injures Batman after pushing him to the limits of his endurance. Jean-Paul Valley, known as Azrael, is called upon to wear the Batsuit during Bruce Wayne's convulsions. In 2005, DC launched All-Star Batman and Robin, a standalone comic series set outside the main DC Universe continuity, written by Frank Miller and drawn by Jim Lee. The series was a commercial success for DC Comics, although it was widely panned by critics for its writing and strong depictions of violence. In September 2011, DC Comics' entire line of superhero comic books, including its Batman franchise, were cancelled and relaunched with new #1 issues as part of the New 52 reboot. Bruce Wayne is the only character to be identified as Batman and is featured in Batman, Detective Comics, Batman and Robin, and Batman the Dark Knight. Dick Grayson returns to the mantle of Nightwing and appears in his own ongoing series. While many characters have their histories significantly altered to attract new readers, Batman's history remains mostly intact. Batman Incorporated was relaunched in 2012 to 2013 to complete the Leviathan storyline. Finally, in June 2016, the DC Rebirth event relaunched DC Comics' entire line of comic book titles. Batman was rebooted with a one-shot issue and began shipping twice monthly, starting with Batman Volume 3 #1. The series was written by Tom King, and artwork was provided by David Finch and Michael Janin. The Batman series introduced two vigilantes, Gotham and Gotham Girl. Detective Comics resumed its original numbering system, starting with June 2016's number 934, and the new 52 Volume 2 of the series was added into Volume 1. So there you go, that is how the Batman superhero has become what it is today. That's it for this Evolution of Everything video. Leave us a comment of your favourite superhero and what Evolution of Everything video you would like to see next. And as always, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this one, and we'll see you in the next video.
Why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that name?
Stop! Please, stop!
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name! It's his mother's name.
Oh, darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again.